Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be carrying on with something that we started the other day, which was some quick Christmas ideas for gift tags. You could use them for, develop them into bookmarks if you wanted to, use them to design a Christmas card or something like that. Just really, really quick and easy ideas. So I had a piece of paper, I don't know, 10 by 7 was it? I don't know. I'm hopeless on sizes. And I divided it into 10 pieces, which were roughly the right size for either a miniature Christmas card. I actually found myself yesterday making cards for friends. And what I did was I took a piece of paper, which was really small, actually, and folded it in half and just did a tiny, and this is kind of, easy way out kind of thing, but better than nothing. And anyway, that goes under 20 grams, which means it's a heck of a lot cheaper to send than the bigger ones, which really start to ramp up. Anyway, so coming back to that, and I want to combine this with something else, which is, you will have noticed the title of this video, which is something like 3 channels I'm watching this Christmas. And so I'm going to talk about that as well while I'm doing these 3 channels that I'm watching this Christmas, which I would recommend you to go and explore, because chances are, because they're all fairly low, numbers of subscribers who started around about the same time that I did, actually, but they, I think, really worth watching. Some really good ideas out there. Lots of very tiny channels at the moment that, honestly, I feel ought to see more of you. Anyway, so I have sketched out 3 designs here. This one is a few candles, this is a bird, and this is some rose hips or berries or something on a tree, and we're going to paint those. I'm going to use my, this is Paul Rubens' set, basically, a 24 set, plus 11 Michael Harding paints from my collection, which are colours which I often use. Like this is a very, very dark green, perfect for Christmas. But there's some really nice reds and things like that, and also some really good greens in this Paul Rubens set. So I have been using that a lot lately. And if you decide you want to buy one, go to Amazon via our link, which is in the description below, and you'll help us out as well this Christmas, because, we all need to find something under the Christmas tree, don't we? Anyway, so this is my swatch for this, and I need that there to remind me. I've also got the Meaden paints here too, which I'm going to use as well. Meaden are very, very, very inexpensive, very good, and all their stuff is excellent. I'm supposed to be reviewing one of their kits, but there was a problem with the delivery, so I haven't got round to doing that yet. But have to say that you can't say fairer than Meaden. And if you go to meadenart.com and use my Diane 10 discount, you get an extra 10% off. So that's always useful. Right, so let's get started on this. And while I'm doing it, if I can find a brush, here's my tray of brushes. Let's go for a size 5 or thereabouts. I'll talk a little bit about the 3 channels I'm watching this year that I recommend that you might like to watch too. I'm going to first of all just paint around these berries in water, more or less carefully. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to drop in some dark blue and maybe a little bit of green. And I'm going to let that run a bit. This is a technique which we use a lot for bigger paintings as well, to give us an interesting background. So we'll go with indigo. I'll just check whether you can see that. You can't. You can now. All right. Move over, baby. Right, so that's indigo. And I'm just going to drop that in to the wet background and let it spread. Oops, I missed that bit. We want this to be a little bit uneven, so we'll let it do its own thing. You'll soon discover the bits that you forgot. Doesn't matter if it's irregular around the outside edges. Okay, so this idea I got from one of my channels that I've been watching since I started mine 3 or 4 years ago. This is someone called Wendy Powell Jones, who is English, and she was one of the first channels that I watched when I started researching whether or not it would be a good idea to start my own YouTube channel. So she was actually quite influential, because I watched her and I thought, oh, so it's not only for Americans. It's not only American ladies like Ellen Crimmy Trent and Christy Rice and Emma Lefebvre. It's not only young-ish American ladies. No, it's a Canadian. It's not. It's all sorts of people. Wendy is, I think, roughly the same age as me, and she has roughly the same background in painting as me. She's very traditional, and her paintings are lovely, very gentle, very skilled, and a lot of fun. Anyway, so she did a Christmas card just recently with red berries on, and she used something like this technique. And I'm going to sprinkle some fine salt onto this, which has dried out. It's got a bit damp sitting in my studio, but it will probably still work. I think I probably ought to replace this with some fresh. So the idea of this is to give you a textured background. So we're going to put that on and leave it. And meanwhile, this is an old film case. You remember when we used to use celluloid film to take pictures with cameras? Yeah, in those days. And that's I kept a few of them. I thought, I know they'll come in handy one day. So I've got a few of those which I keep my salt in, which is not entirely successful because it doesn't keep the damp out completely. So while that's drying a bit and sucking up some of the pigment to make a bit of a bit of a background, I'll go to the next one, which I think I'll do the candles. And this is based on this painting, which I did last year. I think we did it as a short. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite remember. I'm not going to be able to do it exactly the same, and I don't think I would want to either, but same thing. It's got a dark background, but I'm going to do the candles first. So let's use the Meaden paints for this, just to try them out and show how bright and colourful they are. So this is a nice red one. And what we can do here, we just do them very simply. And then if we mix a bit of blue with that red, we'll get a darker colour of red, which we can put inside for the shadow behind, or inside, whichever way you look at it. I'm going to use some gold pens and things to decorate these. I have to be careful now. If I do a green one, I'm going to make it in sort of bluish green, I think, because I want to do some fur as well. So I'm just going to mix a bit of that green with a bit of that blue to give me a sort of turquoisey colour. A bit more blue, perhaps. I don't want that to run. So I'll try to keep that away from the red. And then let me see, what colour shall we do the one in front? I haven't got a yellow out, so I'll pop over here to Paul for some yellow. Oh no, maybe I don't want yellow. Perhaps I want orange. Let's do some orange. Right, okay, so the second channel that I want to recommend that I'm going to be watching this Christmas is, I'm not exactly sure how I pronounce her first name, but I think it's Lisa, Leisa O'Brien. She's from Australia. I'm just going to go to the yellow and do the flame now. And she's a very skilled artist, but and she does a lot of teaching in person. And I believe she's a professional designer. Let's put some orange on the inside. Anyway, she's very good at landscapes and flowers and things like that. And I've learned quite a few things from her this year. And when I discovered her, I was really pleased to find somebody different. It's always good to find people who are better than you are. And there are plenty of people out there who are better than me. I shouldn't probably say that, but there are. I mean, you know, it's just a fact of life, isn't it? So I'm going to do some greenery down here. And up here. And we'll put a few more red berries down there too. Main thing, and I think Lisa talks about this in the video that I'm recommending you watch, the main thing is to have fun. So we'll let that dry, and then I'll decorate the candles a little bit and put something in the background as well. I'll put details of these particular channels that I'm recommending in the descriptions below, along with all the materials that I'm using. Okie doke. Now let's go to our robin, and we're going to give him a nice red breast. I'll put, you know, what do you call them? Sketches of these. On our website, dianeantone.com. So if you want to go and download a sketch or two, you can do that. So we'll just let that run a little bit, and then we'll pop in his eyes, his eye and his beak and his legs. Let's draw a branch. And then up the top here, I kind of thought there should be something in the top, so we'll just put some mistletoe up here. And make the mistletoe berries just creamy colour. Okay, now let's see, is that dry? I think that's probably dry enough. Let me put the hairdryer on it. Okay, so let's brush off this salt and see whether it made any difference to the background, which it indeed did. I have to use the fingers a bit because you can't necessarily feel exactly what's going on. But we do have a variegated background now. So what I'm going to do next on this one, sorry for the noise, if that's distracting. Sometimes somebody did say, oh, what's all that background noise in your video? Sorry, I didn't like that bit. I don't know what it was, but it might have been the neighbours outside making a noise. You can never really prevent other people from living. And sometimes our microphone picks things up. So I'm going to quite heavily use a bright orange to paint these berries. And this is a sort of this is cadmium red, so it's almost opaque. Cadmium colours tend to be on the opaque side, so they stand out quite well. You could probably even put another one in on top of the blue and it would probably darken down a little bit, so it would appear to be a little bit further back, and that's probably a good thing. And then we need to do the branches, and I think what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go to a pen for the rest of the details on that one. But I am also going to outline it in gold, and I've got my Schminker Aqua Bronze Gold here, which I'm going to mix up. This is probably the most intense gold. In the last video, I did talk a lot about other kinds of gold, so if you want to look at that one, or the description at least, if nothing else, to find out about other types of gold paint, if you are not totally familiar with all of that. Need a bit more pigment. But anyway, this is one that is quite vivid and intense, and you can mix up a bit of it and leave it and let it dry and come back and reactivate it. It doesn't react in any unfortunate way. I bought myself a nice jumper yesterday in Lidl. I don't know if you have Lidl yet in America. I think they're trying to break into the American market, but Lidl is in Europe and England. And you can see the nice pattern. It's like an old-fashioned ski jumper. It's got that all round the neck as well, and around the chest, and it's really pretty, and it's nice and snug, nice and warm. So let's try this. What I was thinking I would do here, and it cost, I was going to say, the price is ridiculous. It doesn't actually matter if I only wear it for a few months during the winter, because it cost €8, which is about, well, it's almost the same in dollars. It's ridiculous. So I'm painting over my untidy edge with gold. And then I'm going to get the scissors when I've finished, or maybe even when it's dry, and cut round the whole thing with the scissors. And I'm deliberately not going to use a knife because I want an irregular-ish effect. So the uneven painting of the background is kind of evened out a bit. Okay. So I'm going to put the gold aside for a minute. And I think what I'll do next is get my black pen. This is one of those really inexpensive brush pens. You can buy a set of 9, I think it's 9, on Amazon for next to nothing. I'll put a link in the description below. And it's basically, it's black, but it's got a brush, so when you use it, you can start thin and go thicker. So it's very similar to the Kuretake Fudenosuke pen, but mine are a little bit on their last legs at the moment. So yeah, so I think I'll use this one. So I'm just going to draw in the stalks, the stems, the twigs, or whatever, and try and leave some of this white that I've got sitting there to make it look a little bit like snow. Okay, so this one, I'm not quite sure where that's meant to be coming from. I think it has to come from here. Okay, and then at the ends of these, they all have a sort of where the flower has died. Don't know what you'd call that, but where the flower has died, they have a dark bit like that. And then I've got some red here. This is an acrylic, and I can improve the shape a little bit and make it a bit brighter if necessary using the acrylic pen. Add a bit of shadow. I don't know if we'd call that mixed media when you're using a pen like this, as well as watercolor and ink and all that. Anyway, so we just make those a little bit rounder. We can come in now with a bit of white if we want. You could use a gel pen, a white gel pen. You might need to wait for it to dry before you did this. Or you might find that your gel pen has died on you. I don't know how many times this happens. Somebody told me that you should run it on your hand and that will get it going again, but I can't quite see how a greasy hand can. Yeah, maybe it can. Sort of. Anyway, I'm not going to use that one. I do have an acrylic marker here, Artex. I think that will work. So we'll just wait for it to dry. Come back to that. Okay, we'll wait for that to dry, and I'm going to go down here. I've got a Slicky gold pen here. I find these work more reliably than the gel pens that I had before. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to very simply embellish these candles with gold. I think I need a darker colour there, so I think I might, maybe I'll just put some red on here and try this out. And maybe I'll do some dots up here. Okay, and then we can brighten up here as well. I really like these acrylic markers, I must admit. They do give an extra something, as they say in France, je ne sais quoi. I don't know what. I don't know what they give, but they give something. Well, I do know what they give, really. They give a certain brightness. So now we'll go up to our bird. And I need my pen because I'm going to do some things here. No, I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to have a go with the one I really like. We all have our favourites. So let's put in a little eye and a little beak. And some legs. And let's do some holly. And some berries. That's where we need the red again. You can come in here with the red. And then we can very lightly go around the mistletoe berries. I know that's not quite the way that mistletoe is, but it's okay. And I think I want to make, I think I might, well, it's difficult to decide really, but the bird could have a little bit more colour in his back and on top of his head. Okay. Just leave him like that. And then I want to go back to my berries and I'm just going to put snow on them. So the other channel that I haven't mentioned yet is one by a gentleman called Alex Boone Art, and he is an outdoorsy type, and he lives in, I think, either Dorset or Devon. He spends a lot of time down there in the UK, and he is amazing. Very small channel, but I think it's going to grow quite a lot soon. What really struck me about the video he's just put up, he went to explore an old sunken road. There are roads in England that are literally, certainly hundreds, if not thousands of years old. And you can walk along them and find all sorts of interesting things. And he did that. And in this thing, but then he went home and he did some drawing and he showed how to make paint using rocks that he'd picked up while he was walking along this road and just grinding it all up, mixing it with gum arabic. You remember just a little while ago we discovered gum arabic while I was in Cairo, and how it comes in lumps. It looks like toffee or something like that. Anyway, and I found out about it and how you can use it for so many other things. So anyway, he had some in liquid form, like you buy from what's it called, from Winsor & Newton, and he just mixed it with the ground up earth and made, brown paint. It was quite interesting to see what he was doing. And then after he'd finished with that and the sketching, he showed himself going for a swim in the sea off the coast of England in November or December. And I'm like, oh my God. Right. It made me shiver. It made my hair stand on end to think of going into the sea. But he seemed to enjoy it. He said it was quite warm, really. Anyway, take a look at him because he's great. And I think you'll enjoy him. That's Alex Boone Art. Again, all of the information about all of the people I've mentioned are in the description below. I'm just going to cut a couple of these out because I'm getting a bit awkward here. So I'll just separate this one. And then I'm going to, using scissors, just cut round reasonably close. Takes me back to my youth doing this kind of thing. I remember when I was a kid and I was desperate to do craft type stuff, and I used to watch Blue Peter. English people will remember. Used to watch Blue Peter, and they would talk about sticky back plastic and empty washing up bottles, and we never even had a washing up bottle because we never had washing up liquid. I think we used to use soda. And there we are. So there's that one. And we can put that aside now. That's fine. That's done. And they were always talking about scissors. We had one pair of scissors in the house, and the blades were like that long, and I couldn't even use them. I mean, we were so deprived when we were children. Christmas really meant something to us as kids because the whole of the rest of the year, you didn't have any chance of getting anything. Nobody gave you anything the rest of the year. So Christmas really meant something. Nowadays, everyone's just kind of saying, oh, it's boring. I don't want anything. Give me money. A couple of years ago, I thought, I don't know what to get my grandchildren. I've got 2 grandboys who I don't actually see anymore because my son has estranged himself from us. But anyway, I sent them gift tokens, and then the next thing I knew, James was complaining because the children were arguing over what to buy with the gift tokens that I'd given them for Amazon, and they said, oh, I wish you wouldn't do that because it just caused so many out. And I thought, well, all right, that's it. That's the last time. Right, that's number 2. And here is number 3. And if that's dry, we can rub out the lines. From the drawing. And I'm going to cut round it. I'm not going to put, I don't think I'm going to put, oops, I don't think I'm going to put gold on this one. And I just wanted also to mention a book that you might be interested in that I learned a lot from, and I get a lot of ideas and inspiration from, which is good old Ann Blockley. Her flower painting and her watercolor workshop books are really good. And if you haven't already got this one, then you might want to think about it. She's perhaps behind an awful lot of our work that we people, especially in England, do, and a big inspiration. And I'm pretty sure she's an inspiration to Wendy Powell-Jones, for example, and probably Alex Boone, even if he doesn't realize it. But yeah, you've seen a lot of these ideas developed here on YouTube. And this is, when she brought this book out, which was quite a while ago, I think she was fairly original because she was breaking the mold. 2001, yeah, that's like nearly 25 years ago now. And that's what she looked like then. Don't think she looks like that anymore. None of us do. But anyway, so heartily recommend anything by Ann Blockley, daughter of John Blockley, who was a great hero of mine as well. I'll put links to all of that in the description below. And so there we are. We have got 3 completely different doodahs there. And I did have some ribbon. So what I'll do is try to untangle this. Well, we'll just put some of this kind of stuff through a hole on the top of these and call them gift tags. I've already used 2. I made 3 the other day and I've already used 2 of them. And so that's the only one that's left at the moment, but I will use that one too. I thought that was quite good. I liked that. It came out quite well. Anyway, so we have a robin, some candles and some berries for your delectation. I hope you enjoyed this and I shall see you again soon. So bye for now, everybody. It's lunchtime. Bye-bye.